I went for a walk with my family in a forest that I've never been to before. It was a lovely, relaxing day, and I was able to find and focus on so many tiny things and moments that I could have easily missed, like the wildflowers beside the trail. I wanted to share this walk with you in the hopes that it can bring some quiet, calm, and nature to your day. I enjoy spending time waiting and watching for the beauty hidden in plain sight, and I'm often reminded that sprinkling in small moments that bring me joy and peace, as well as noticing the ones that are already an inherent part of my day, really has such a huge impact. And I don't just look down at the ground and around me, I look up as well, at the sky, the clouds, the trees. And interestingly enough, I actually find myself rarely looking within, or at least not consciously. I was watching a YouTube video recently that briefly touched on how, as a society, we've become so self-focused. In my opinion, there are both positive and negative aspects to this, including self-consciousness, self-obsession, self-care, self-awareness, self-compassion, self-healing. But even when it comes to the positive aspects, after a while it can become too much and an unhealthy preoccupation with ourselves. To me, at least, it's important to do things that make me sort of forget about myself, my life, my problems, how I look, how I come across, for a little while. Few things can make me feel so completely unaware of myself as being surrounded by nature, and I just love that feeling. I love feeling completely unaware of myself in the best sense of the word. It's a kind of presence, connectedness, and inner peace and quiet that comes so naturally when I am still or moving gently outside. I think that's generally what people mean when they say they are going for a walk to clear their head. But to me, it's so much more than that. The natural world never ceases to amaze me, and I think wonder is one of my favorite feelings. I'm not sure that mindfulness ever comes as easily to me as when I'm alone outside and not in a rush. And while I feel fortunate that this comes very naturally to me, I just found out recently that there is actually a term for a stroll in which we intentionally shift our attention outward instead of inward, which is aptly named an awe walk. People have the ability to conjure up awe in so many different circumstances when they look for the unexpected, the inspiring, and the extraordinary. There is an increasing amount of research being done on the subject of awe and awe walks, and I'll link a couple resources in the description if you're curious to learn more. After our walk, we went to a cafe for milkshakes and coffee. Then, my sister and I went to the lake for some paddleboarding. Since returning to Canada, I've been reflecting a lot on the words that Paola Merrill shared in one of her YouTube videos, that you can be an explorer of new things whenever you wish. I love the freedom and authority that this grants each and every one of us, because we can explore our imaginations, our questions, our perspectives, and more from within our homes, our communities, and ourselves. In a way, we're always on a journey, and the process of getting to know yourself and befriending yourself might just be the most rewarding journey of all. As we enjoyed the sunset, we watched this group of ducks, and it reminded me of a conversation I had with one of my friends who is undoubtedly the most social person I know. As we were sitting on the bank of the Danube, watching the ducks, she told me that when she was still in high school and had just moved to this new town, and she didn't have any friends, she would often go out to that exact spot to watch and spend time with the ducks. I was so surprised to hear that she had ever gone through a period of time where she felt that she didn't have any friends because of the social life that she has now. And as someone who has struggled with making friends pretty much all my life, it felt like such a bonding and heartening conversation that we had, to know that the most friendly, social, popular person I know once struggled to make friends. While I'm not an expert in friendship and still don't have a large group of friends, I do have a thing or two I'd like to share with you in case you might find it validating and heartening as well, like the conversation I had with my friend, who is actually one of my cousins. For a long time, I had a very limited view of what a friend and a friendship could or should be. I think a lot of that must have come from movies and comparing myself to the way other people presented themselves. I really internalized those values of what a supposedly normal, healthy, or thriving social life looks like. Movies in particular place very conventional friendships and popularity on a pedestal. Naturally, our connections with other humans are extremely important. But I thought for a long time that a friend could only refer to non-family member human friends. But the point is not the meaning of the word, but rather the meaning and connection we find with the friends in our lives, regardless of their specific relation to us. All through my school years, and even afterwards, I did not feel like I had the close and intimate friendships that I craved so deeply. I felt weird for generally having heart-to-heart conversations with people who were much older than me or family members, and found it difficult to find people among my peer group who were comfortable enough to share their vulnerability. I also clung to friendships that were clearly fizzling out, and then in hindsight felt that they must not have been real friendships. But I know now that not every friendship will last a lifetime, and that doesn't detract from its value or make it less meaningful. It's worth reminding ourselves that having only a handful of quality friends, whether they're family or select people that you don't get to see in person, or even animals, can be just as meaningful. I deeply appreciate spending time with my dog and the special bond we share that is unlike any other relationship I have. I hope you can be kind, patient, and a good friend to yourself no matter where you're at in your journey. It's an ongoing process for me as well. And let me know if you have anything to add to this conversation. Thank you for being here and spending this time with me. I'll see you next week.